New York, and on the new Hot 97 app. Ebro in the morning on Hot 97.
Cory Booker.
Yes, sir.
What's going on? You're on with me, Ebro. You got Laura Stiles. You got Rosenberg. You're on Hot 97. Newark's own New Jersey Senator Cory Booker.
Big week for the senator.
So good to listen. I think it's a tough week for America. I mean, the hearings that we saw with Kavanaugh. Unfortunately, it still seems like he might have the vote, but we've got to continue to speak up and try to stop this person from being confirmed onto the Supreme Court.
All right, let's simplify this. Cory, I texted you the other day when it was about to start. I think it was Monday. You hit me right back. I appreciate that. I was trying to wrap my brain around how a president who has been accused of criminal activity by someone under oath has the ability to make these suggestions for a Supreme Court justice at all. How does that even happen?
And I literally was asked those questions. Me and my other colleagues asked those questions. This guy is not just under investigation. This is unprecedented. You have a president with multiple people around them being indicted, charged, actually pleading guilty. You have the only person that he picked on a broad list that's created with a right-wing organization called the Federalist Society, who literally has said things like the president should be indicted or president shouldn't be investigated.
Yeah, I'm familiar. I've talked about the Federalist Society on the air and how they've been lining these judges up for the last 20 years preparing for this moment.
Exactly.
But here's my question, though, to simplify it for the audience, Cory. Let's just get right to it. Why are you guys sitting there continuing to go through this process when President Obama had a suggestion for a pick, a nominee, Merrick Garland? The Republicans wouldn't even have a meeting with him for a year. Why are the Democrats sitting there going through this process?
Because, first of all, if we excluded ourselves in the process, they would move the process along anyway.
Okay.
And so for me and others to be able to sit there and grill the Supreme Court nominee, to expose the full outcome of it, issues on racial profiling, it's issues on affirmative action, it's issues on health care, it's issues on a woman's right to sue, it's issues on all the kind of things that America should know where this person stands on. That is important. And so for me, knowing that these are the issues when I come home to Jersey, north and south of the state, and home in my home city of Newark, I want them to know that I stood in the saddle and grilled him on the issues that matter to working people, to real folks.
Right. So, I kind of feel like, I feel like we know those things. I know you, Kamala Harris. Is the guy Rosenthal one of the senators? Blumenthal, sorry. And other people who are up there, right? I expect that from you guys. But it doesn't feel like you guys can stop this train.
Well, Baldwin said, nothing can be changed unless it's safe. Not everything you face is changed, but nothing can be changed unless it's safe. So I understand that this the conclusion may seem inevitable, but we come from a long history where when the odds seemed against you, you stood up and you fought anyway. And you never know. We fought with health care, that they had all the votes, that the fix was in. But the protests, the lobbying, the people standing up, letting their voices be heard, eventually was able to change at the last minute. You remember that moment where John McCain
I remember.
put his finger down. People gasped.
So you feel like after this process, after you guys have sat and grilled Kavanaugh, after you the other day released papers that weren't supposed to be released, even though the GOP came back and said that they were okay to release and you were just grandstanding, you believe after all of that hopefully the people can make this stop? Do the people feel like they have power to make this stop?
Listen, we all have power. You know this. Alice Walker says the most common way we give up that power is not realize we have it. I believe if we still have days left before this confirmation vote, people should not just resign themselves to the inevitable. They should fight. And, for example, what you just brought up about the fight over the document. We broke committee rules. I read from documents. That was a document about about racial profiling. That night, they scrambled to release the document. They reacted to our standing up and doing what was right. And that's why today and yesterday I'm going to continue to release these committee confidential documents because the public has a right to know. And so in every point of the way, to call out things that we believe are wrong, to try to stand up and speak up for what is right. And that's what I'm going to do during this process. And even if we have a temporary defeat, I believe that the right, ever vigilant, is still always going to be stronger than a temporary loss.
So what would it take to make sure that Kavanaugh does not get this seat? What needs to happen right now?
Is there anything? Because it feels like there's nothing.
Let me get a little technical. Two things need to happen. One is we hold all the Democrats and make sure we all vote against them. And then two, just like healthcare, we need to flip 3 Republicans. That's what needs to happen. And remember, we're in a political world here. People respond to what they hear, what they see.
Cory, the bottom line is you guys need 3 Republicans to vote against Kavanaugh.
Yes.
And so is there any way that this gets dragged out to the midterms and some of these flipped seats can help with that?
Look, I don't want to mislead folks. Is there any way? Yes, but it's a very, very narrow and unlikely path. But yet we have to try anyway. I will not give up. I will not stop fighting for this.
And we appreciate that.
I guess it just feels frustrating from our standpoint because it feels like whenever the bad guys have an opportunity, they always do whatever it takes to not happen. Like we never understood how Obama couldn't get Garland in, and then it just seems like we're at the mercy of this lunatic in office to get a guy, because we all know Kavanaugh has made very clear, Senator, that he believes in the president's right to do basically whatever he wants and not be questioned by the justice system.
Right, but this is the little things I want you to make your narrative. The reason why they were able to do what they did with Merrick Garland, the reason why they're able to do what they're doing right now is because we lost elections.
That's right.
If we did not lose the presidency, remember the majority of Americans voted against Donald Trump. Millions of Americans more voted against him. But in key areas, we lost by just 77,000 votes in 3 states. If they had gone the other way, we would have won. I've been to those states since then. There are a whole lot of folks there that believe just as passionately as we do about those issues, but they didn't come out and vote. There are so many people there who are just as angry about the system, and all the things are wrong, but they did not vote. There are so many people there that didn't bother to turn their rage, their frustration, their anger, their rightful anger about the injustice in our country, but they didn't channel that into voter participation. We have all the votes we need to win elections and to change the Supreme Court. But when it counted, we didn't count it, and not enough of us showed up. In this midterm,
people weren't ready to do the work.
Yeah,
they weren't ready to do the work.
These losses we made this country. We've got to get folks out. And I'm not saying that. Look, we're seeing signs right now that people are starting to get it. Folk are winning, and by the way, folks that reflect America. We've only had 2 elected black governors in the history of our country, and now we have 3 that have the party nomination in Maryland, in Georgia,
Florida,
Florida. Yeah, this is incredible.
In the South too. That's
how people are participating.
Well,
so in New York City, in Jersey, Connecticut, people that are listening to our voices right now, they have the power to take back the House, to give a better check and balance to this president. And we're not that far away. We're 6 months away from this election, and 2 months away from this election, and 2 years and 2 months away from the 2020 election. And we've got to all engage because these elections have profound consequences.
No, we get that. We've been having that conversation, but with regard to Brett Kavanaugh, what I'm hearing today is we could kick, scream, spit, cuss, protest, and do all that. But the only thing standing in the way of this man becoming a Supreme Court nominee for the rest of his life, if that's what he chooses, is literally 3 Republican votes.
Yeah.
And which three Republican seats have the potential to vote against him?
And are there 3?
And are there 3? Because let's go find them right now.
Well, the conventional wisdom is always that there's 2 moderate women, Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski. There's John McCain's speech, which people wonder what his replacement might do. But there's a whole bunch of other Republicans that are, Heller from Nevada who's facing a tough re-election. There are a whole bunch of others that you might be able to get to, especially because, as we saw with health care, we got some votes and people realized they were going to lose their health care in terms of if they had a pre-existing condition or access to the Affordable Care Act, or people who could remain on their health insurance for their parents' health insurance until 26. Well, that's a case that might come up before the Supreme Court, and so health care is in the balance. So
no, we get that. We get that. Let's focus on these three Republicans, though. Let's use our resources, which currently, when it comes to people who want to have, some sort of progressive, moderate agenda and prevent the flipping of Roe v. Wade or the Voting Rights Act or any of these things that are very important, we have to take to social media and make sure that we get on the ground where these Republicans are and figure out a way for them to vote against Kavanaugh. A lot of people may not understand how ridiculous it is that they will not allow the committee that you sit on right now to see, 35 months of this man's work is prohibited from being discussed.
It's insane.
35. And where was he working for those 35 months?
He was working in the Bush White House.
He was working in the Bush White House for 35 months. And by the way, check this out. The lawyer that is saying that these things can't be viewed is not even somebody that works for the government. It's somebody who works privately and is a lawyer for Trump and his cronies.
For Bannon as well.
For Steve Bannon. Steve Bannon's lawyer has the power to tell senators there's documents they can't view. Bro, it's out of control, Cory. I'm telling you, it's out of control. And I'm going to say it to you like I've said it to anybody who will hear my voice. If Donald Trump doesn't go to jail or lose a lot of money, the respect for that office will never be the same. He's being allowed to commit crimes and make a lot of money, and everyone's watching.
And this is why we have the House of Representatives. We don't have to rely on just Mueller. We can actually do investigation and subpoena people and begin to take. Look at what they did over Benghazi. They have more hearings on Benghazi than they did on, Nixon. They did on Vietnam War, some Vietnam War issues. So the point is that we win elections, we get to hold people accountable, and that's why this is so important. And then as part of those hidden documents, the things that people aren't seeing, this is again why yesterday on my Twitter feed I released the documents to the public against committee rules. Today I'm going to continue to do that. The fact that they are learning things from public scrutiny shows me that they must have something to hide.
Oh, clear! Come on, we already know that.
But hold on. Do we really think? Cause I was listening to an expert who thought that on the first day, Senator Booker, when you guys were saying you were missing tons of pages, not the documents you released, but just the original documents that came through that you were supposed to review on Labor Day, which of course is a weird time to be getting all these important documents, that things were missing, but that the likelihood of anything being in those original documents that would change the mind of Republicans is unlikely. Because you guys are already voting against him no matter what.
Well, look, there's things on the document, for example, about Roe v. Wade that came out that give a little bit more of this insight into the fact that this person thinks it should be overturned. That actually did a few more of those nuggets. You have like Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski who have said comments that they don't want to see Roe v. Wade overturned. And so you never know what might sway a senator. And you never know. And we've seen this before with other agencies releasing documents and something in there that they didn't recognize would hit a nerve with people or hit a nerve.
Right. I can see that because you just never know what little thing could strike a chord. Right?
Let me tell you what's not going to strike a chord with Republicans. Anything that has to do with black people, it's got to be more universal than that. Racial profiling ain't it.
Roe v. Wade, maybe.
Roe v. Wade, maybe something. You're going to need something more universal.
I just can't believe that people.
I'm sorry, Ken, I just don't want to speak with that broader a brush. Like, Republicans, sometimes you see some of my colleagues jumping into this tribalism, painting all Democrats in a certain way. The reality is, I have some partners on the other side of the aisle on things like criminal justice reform. When I talk to them about racial disparities in incarceration, they have lined up reform bills.
That sounds good. It sounds good, Cory, but we got to see it in public, man.
By the
We
way,
don't see it.
Ebro is the king of broad brush, Cory. We've been arguing about this all day. The man has the biggest brush in the business today.
The broadest brush, broader than Broadway.
The brush is broader than Broadway.
Broadway.
This is the thing. We've got to have. I believe we've got to have a more courageous empathy. In other words, this country can't move forward if we cannot appeal to the heart of people with different political beliefs than us. And the more we can get allies to come on our side, Lincoln said the best way to defeat an enemy is to turn them into a friend. And so I'm not going to assume something about people just because of what political party they say they are. And we can't fall into the trap of letting our rightful anger, our righteous anger, pull us so down that suddenly in a broad brush hate, despise.
Too late. I've already fell into the trap, Cory. I'm already in the trap.
I tried to
Matter of fact, yesterday when I was watching y'all, Tuesday when I was watching y'all, I wanted to see you flip over the desk, right?
Sam, I'm so sorry.
Kick somebody and walk out of the room.
Look, now they're pulling him off the call.
Yeah, that's right.
Thank you,
We
Senator.
love you, Cory, and shout to the lady who's pulling you off the line.
Doing it. We literally called them at the 9 and they're going so late.
Flip over the buffet table, Cory. Walk out, smack somebody with a microphone. It's hip hop. Let's get it cracking. Hello, you still there, Cory?
Oh, no.
Yeah,
Cory!
we love you, man.
Well, right when you said flip the table over?
That was it.